Welcome everyone to NGO business model, or should I say strategies for digital age of NGOs per se. So the history of philanthropy. Let us start with the history thereby. What was there? Actually, 2500 BC, ancient Hebrews used mandatory tax, probably a tithe to benefit the poor. You take from the rich and distribute it to the poor. Approximately 500 BC, the word philanthropy just appeared, absolutely in the first places, as in Prometheus bound or out of love. That is for the man that came around here. Then around 387 BC, what was happening around? We were talking in terms of Plato's Academy, a group of working of the public goods in the first place for establishing human welfare for the humankind on a voluntary basis. 16,001, or should I say 28 BCE or before Christ. Now, what happened is the first Roman Emperor Augustus gave public aid, as in donations, for the first time to the estimates of 200,000 people. Then at 1180 CE, Moses Maimonides authors Mishneh Torah, which includes the 8 levels of charity, where charities was important as a goodwill gestures, as a part of your religious duty. 1601 CE, the Charitable Uses Act of 1601 was enacted by the Parliament. It identifies what purpose can be defined as charitable. This is the concepts and the delivery of philanthropy that has been bound over thousands and thousands of years. But until mid 18th century, philanthropy was mainly distributed through localized parish, or should I say reliefs, churches. So it was the localized parish that used to do it. You have the Jews, you have the Islam, you have the Christianity, you have the person in power with money, the wealthy person to be distributed, and to the innumerable poorest of the poor thereby. That is what localized philanthropy had to be. Now, local and global philanthropy, the concepts are more or less the same, but here comes the non-governmental organization. The term non-governmental organization is recent, relatively recent, dating to the formations of the United Nations in 1945, when a select club of international non-state agencies were awarded the observer status of such meeting per se, as to understand or bring in some sort of transparency, build in some sort of credibility among the people. This further led to where the commercial establishment, the individual person, and probably the parliament contributed towards an NGO who was responsibility in distributing the wealth to the common people across the globe and for the welfare of the sustainable planet thereby. The growth of NGOs and how did it proliferate into various proportion, the gigantic proportion that it is of right now present. This was the growth. First, it was a small, immaculate growth of NGOs coming together as a localized parish, as a local community level that we transform it. Then, probably 1975 was Bruce Henderson stated. It was a scale curve, experience curves, or economies of scale that comes around it. The cost and the experience with volume, with A, B, C, the number of NGOs increased over a period of time. Michael Porter in 1980, The Value Chain, Defining the Business, Economizing the Transaction Cost, led to the growth of the business strategies for the NGOs thereby. The NGO value chain, if I may say so, about the enabling activities, or should I say the secondary activities, are all of organizational management, knowledge management, supply chain management, finance, the HR, and the IT, information technology. These were your support activities or the secondary activities, rightly aptly called as an enabling activities. But what are the main activities? Should I say the primary activities per se? They are the context to which you want to bring in a change. That for where the reasons for the existence of NGO would arise from. We are talking from program design, fundraising, funding management, program delivery, and impact thereof. This is what we should be looking forward to. This is the primary activity, the context, the main cause for why you establish a brand, establish a NGO. Then the program design accordingly, and then probably you pursue fundraising. Once funding has been adequately done, you start managing the fund and the delivery, executing, implementing the so-called cost for the context that we have already identified, and then by measure the impact. What are we looking out? We are looking at global, regional, country levels, the drivers for change, stakeholder concerns about accountability, about transparency, about efficiencies and effectiveness. Should I maintain efficacy thereby? In order to sustain large operations, non-governmental organizations often chase funding because they want to procure funds from different ends of altogether and shift their focuses to the areas of expertise in where the money is. That is the donor led, not context driven. This is how the harsh reality of today's NGO need to increase the increasing despite increase in aid. Increase of aid funding is approximately 8.9% from 2015 to 2016. See the amount of changes, increase, imbalance of distribution of the 150 billion spent in aid globally. Still only approximately 1% directly reaches the southern civil society organization, the poorest nation, the places where the aid is required, more competitive, more complex operating environment, underperformances. In March 2016, Penny Lawrence, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Oxfam, stated bluntly, we need to earn the right to survive the future as straight as one can be. Many international non-governmental organizations have failed to take risk, instead pacified actors at the expense of seeking real change. Beres Gwen, the former director of World Vision, agreed. We have become used to bring in business. So what? Excuse me. So we have become less and less courageous. 2000 studies says or show that half of the multilateral organizations are underperforming or are a critical organization effective in indicators. The direct cause of underperformance are numerous stagnant progress and probably outdated organizational model thereby. Look what the evolution of NGO is all about. It was a direct small parish to growth from an individual. The rich, the powerful people would go and give, distribute wealth through the number of people or wherever it is required, and that was installed. But now it is the commercial established, the individual, the church, or should I say the parliament is legislating, collecting fund, probably distributing to a number of NGOs, non-governmental organization, either a big one or the minuscule one, the smaller one. But in health, everything goes to the poorest of the poor, for sustainable planet and for the ecological beneficial benefit of the planet thereby. So it is what we are talking. It's a transaction that is happening in random with every one of it. Everybody is interacting as much as possible. Look how they are interacting. The recipients are interacting via the NGOs. Probably you cannot see the nature cannot interact, but nature everybody can feel, for which the people are subsiding, the people are residing, they would be stating what is required. So more companies, more donors, everybody is contributing. In fact, if I may say so, the growth of NGOs or all NGOs, look what has happened altogether. The graph from 1945 to 2015, if I may show it to you, this is approximately 70 years of growth that goes up. And see the whooping gamut of the blue line, that all NGO that goes around it, it increases. Usually it's the general status, the state supported, the federal government supported, and then there is something called special status for which you are passionate about, for which you are general about. In totality, the blue line states how big the rise is all about it. They estimate 10 million NGOs worldwide. If NGO were a country, they would have the fifth largest economy in the world. There are more than 1.4 NGOs in the US that employ approximately 11.4 million people there. With over 3.3 million NGOs, India has approximately one NGO for every 400 people. As of 2015, there are 136,453 registered NGOs in South Africa. On an average, 68 new NGOs are registered perhaps every day. There are more than 600,000 NGOs in Australia whose employees make up only 8% of the Australian workforce. The NGO sector in England and Wales is made up of approximately 165,000 registered charities. Germany has more than 600,000 NGOs, 40% were founded after the World War II. Sweden has more than 232,000 NGOs. In Kenya, there has been a significant growth in the number of registered NGOs. Example, 5,600 in 2008 and to over 8,000 in 2012, just within 4 years' time. The NGO's response to date, the one strategy, shuffling of management functions and some program stuff. We are talking about decentralization and centralization thereby. Moving headquarters to somewhere in the global south, digitizing the operational backbone, and some international convention terms that has been there. Not enough transformation. Professor Robert Chambers in his book says, develop whose reality counts. Putting first last, reflecting on the views of the listening and the participating isn't enough. The whole idea of the empowerment means development institution needs to disempower themselves to grand bargain. One of the most significant pledges was to channel at least 25% of humanitarian aid through local and national actors by 2020. We talk about business models. In fact, if I have just let you know, I have given you a link which is you can always go to the hyperlink and go to the respective website. Change.org for advocacy is approximately 23,518 victories in approximately 200 countries, 196 to be precise. Kiva for microfinancing. Kiva lenders crowdfund at an average $2.5 million loan each week. New study for crowdfunding of home building in slums is approximately 1100 plus since 2015. The Digital Humanitarianism Network for tasks such as crisis mapping, leveraging digital volunteers in support of the humanitarian responses, charity work for innovations, cost modeling, accounting, accountability, and transparency. Give directly are reshaping the international giving by completely overhauling the disintermediating the roles of traditional NGO and collaborating directly with the experimental evaluation. So, what are we looking out? We're talking about new business models. We're talking about new digital business model, digital which is platform based, narrow focus, 100% to the cost, low use of institutional funding for direct program delivery, low centralized overheads, delivery used local partners, and leveraging the crowdsourcing as the case might be. This is what we are talking around. So, falling transaction costs. Earlier, the major part of an NGO, whatever they would have crowd-funded or probably funded, got the funded from the donors, approximately 50% of the cost were engulfed in the administration cost only of the functioning of the NGOs, and 50% directly went to the needy requirement, to the just cause about it. But now it has been done and dusted away. NGO, you have a program designing, fundraising, fund management, and program delivery. This was all the happening in the first NGOs, the traditional NGOs. Now, what is happening from program designing to program fundraising, or should I say from program designing to program delivery rightly? In between, everything goes missing altogether. It is NGOC, fundraising, and program delivery. Nothing in between. So we are making the administration cost completely zero. It is right direct to the required people, to the needy. So obliterations of the NGO value chain, the charity water is a program design, fundraising, and then probably to the recipients out there based on the different geographical location, small impact footprint. Incumbent was all about program designing to fundraising to fund management to program delivery. But now Give Directly is just fundraising and to your impact. Change.org is completely to the program delivery per se. This is what we are trying to go around here. So enablers of new digital business model, digitizing the operational backbone will drive efficiencies, but it is not enough for long-term survival in the digital age. NGOs need to reimagine their businesses by question whether the organization is adding or can add value. Sector-wide data standards, use of integrated platform that can deliver fundraising and innovation at a speed, better accountability and transparency models, end-to-end transaction within the complex ecosystem, customer beneficiary centric approach, not a donor led. So what are we looking into is see what is happening with ICT 4D, what is happening all together. what is happening to the digital matrix, if I may say so. We are looking into the new rules of business altogether. So, information and communication technologies for development, ICT 4D, as stated by Venkat Raman. What are we looking? We are experimentation. We are looking for collisions and at the core, at reinvention. The information and communication technology for development tells you everything what you are visioning, what is the idea, or where the gap is. Can we directly fulfill that? Can we directly reach to the needy requirements, and so on and so forth? From ICT 40, it says from experimentation to the conceptual stage or co-creation stage, from the sector visions, reinventions to the actually applications of the varieties reasons. So technology platform enablers are blockchain. Blockchain serves as a shared, secured, irrevocable, trusted ledger for all kind of transactions. Blockchain will plummet the cost of contracting, will enforce contract and make payment. Smart contract on blockchain hold the promise of eliminating agencies and coordinating cost, and can perhaps even lead to the highly distributed enterprises with approximately little or no management. Not only platform solutions to funding management complexity, but also to digital identity. Let me summarize. The sector won't achieve its goal until, in its current form, until a digital revolution is required. The traditional non-governmental organization reference models should be replaced immediately by new digital enabling models. Significant work must be done to improve data standards in the sectors and common platform to transact on. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching the video.